Sweet.
I'm just gonna chop it all together and without parole the fuck out of it,
All right.
and upload it as soon as he's done. Yeah.
Awesome. Good.
Hey guys, welcome to another
Hey.
Patreon exclusive episode of the Litter Box. Thank you for being you, and in turn will be us. It's the only thing we know how to do.
Well,
Sometimes
I can be a slightly exaggerated form of myself. But
I think slightly exaggerated Brian is the only Brian there is. I don't think there's a normal Brian out there somewhere. Maybe. Are you a normal Brian?
I'm the best imitation of myself.
I'm the worst imitation of myself.
Juggle one-handed, do some magic tricks and
What is
do
that?
the
What?
best imitation of myself.
What?
Ben Folds.
Oh, you're not never good into
Yeah.
Ben Folds. What about Ben Queller?
Ben Queller.
I'm a huge
Also
Ben
good.
Queller fan.
Also good.
I am wasted, but I'm ready. Any Ben Queller fans out there? Sha Sha is the fucking bomb, yo. Yeah,
No,
dude. Did I tell you about that flat Earth documentary I was watching?
Oh God. It came up. Was it during Jeremy's stream?
It comes up all the time because I'm obsessed with people that think about things differently. And this flat Earth documentary. So I go right.
Yeah.
So here I am on Netflix, and Netflix is like the home of like the craziest people on the planet.
Yeah.
AKA me. And so there's a documentary called Behind the Curve, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch this.
Yeah.
Because I'm like flat Earth. I'm like, this is just gonna irritate me.
Ah.
And so for the first 10, 15 minutes, I'm watching it, and I'm watching these people, and I'm like, okay, these people believe that the Earth is flat, that it's all on a disc, and some people think there's a dome over it or whatever. And I'm starting to get into it.
Okay.
Right. I'm a conspiracy theorist at heart. Like all I want to do is believe. I'm like, so I'm watching the flat Earth documentary, going, I don't believe that the Earth is flat.
Yeah.
I've been taught we live on a big sphere, right? Flying through space, hurtling through space,
spheroid, but
and whatever. And so for the first 20 minutes, I'm like almost yelling at the TV, being like, "Convince me, convince me it's flat. Give me something to believe in, right? I want to be a flat earther. I don't want to, but like I want to. I love conspiracies. This is all we've ever talked about, right? I'm like, you give me a conspiracy, I'll believe that over history any second of the day, man. This documentary. Very one-sided.
Oh yeah.
The people making this documentary, like they're sort of just like the way it was all edited together. They were just poking fun at these people the whole time, but giving them like a platform to talk about it. And I was like, man, it really, it's a great documentary. It's a great documentary, but it never at any point they don't prove anything.
No, they don't. And that's not what they're about.
What are they about?
They're about saying you're wrong.
Right? Oh yeah.
You know, and that's the psychology of all these deep, you know, a little bit of healthy skepticism I think is a good thing, especially about the government and whatnot, you know. But
and root canals.
Yeah.
Watch that, root cause. That's my new obsession. All of life's problems apparently come from root canals. I'm not kidding, man. Like I love this stuff, right? Like I could talk about the moon landing and 9/11 and like Pearl Harbor. I could talk about this shit. Jesus Christ. I'm not saying that as like a expression, like actual Jesus Christ. Like go watch Zeitgeist Part 1, 2, and 3. Like I mean, just I live for this stuff.
Well, I mean, my point was the deep conspiracy thinking people. You know what it is. It's there's a lot of psychology going on here, but part of it is there is a bad thing out there. I am one of the white knights in shining armor who knows the truth, and I can do something about it. You know. So
the do something about it part is the stuff that always drives me crazy.
Right.
Because when you watch like, you know, I don't want to get political, but like but something that like hits really close to home and something that like gets emotional is 9/11. And so like when there are people out there who like, you know, think that the government was behind it and that it was like it was all an inside job and this and that, you're like, man, the government's really powerful.
Yep.
And if you like speak out against the government, especially these days, like it's very possible that, you know, you might just disappear or get silenced or whatever. And so like being able to do something about it is the part of documentaries that it kind of gets to me. Because I feel more helpless at the end of documentaries than I do at the beginning.
But well, here's the thing, like, and that's where a lot of these things are so just logically inconsistent. You believe that this group was so powerful that they could orchestrate this incredible fraud, Like
the moon landing,
the moon landings, or 9/11, or whatever, pick your flavor.
Yeah.
The tens of thousands of people that had to be involved to make this work, to keep it secret and all that. And they kept those people all quiet and mysteriously disappeared them. But they're going to ignore? Right?
Right.
It's like you have this channel with 3 million viewers. You're just sitting out there every week saying this is a lie. The reason you're allowed to do that, and you aren't one of the people being executed, that you're claiming everyone else is, or whatever, is maybe there's not really something going on. Yeah, but it's I go back. I think every time we talk about this, I go back to the Alan Moore quote, where basically I always butcher it, but he was someone who was in deep conspiracy thinking too, and he kind of got out of it because he realized one of the other core reasons is we need to believe that there is a reason for things.
Yeah, that
someone is in control.
Yeah,
even if that someone is bad. Like, even if it's bad actors, it is very comforting for human beings to know, oh, someone is in charge of this. And the real scary thing is that no one is in charge, that we are rudderless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
And and the reality of life is that there is no one big group that's in charge of things, just life happens, and that's terrifying to people.
See, and the thing is with the Flat Earthers, or the Behind the Curve documentary, that until you just said that, I couldn't figure out what their reasoning was.
Yeah.
Like, because for me, like, with 9/11, with the moon landing, with all these things, I can see the motivation behind it. I can see the reasoning behind people's thinking. It's like, well, what are these people hiding? Right. What don't they want us to know? What is the government not telling us? And and there's always like this thing that makes sense behind the chaos. But with the Flat Earthers, they weren't saying anything. They weren't like, and this is why we believe it. And there wasn't like an answer behind it all. There wasn't like and here's what we really believe. Like, it suddenly kind of makes sense that thinking of ourselves on a ball hurling through space, like just basically flying out of control, like with only like orbits and stuff, with a rapidly expanding galaxy. Like, it's a scary thought.
Yeah. Well, it also appeals to a particularly American root of anti-intellectualism. We don't like experts. We don't want someone to be able to come and say, you know what, I've actually studied this for 30 years and I know something you don't. That really, really just irks at something deep in the American, psychology. So these, flat earthers, or what, the people working on their perpetual motion machines or things like that, they get to say, no, I'm just as smart as you and I don't have to listen to you because you're just telling me lies because it's part of the, it's like, my question for flat earthers is, why is there conspiracy?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Well, see, and that's what I was...
The people who were rich and powerful would still be rich and powerful if it was flat.
Or if it was round. Or if
right.
it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very... See, that, and
right.
you just totally... You kind of completed my thought.
Yeah.
Like that, like, I understand every other conspiracy, but this one I don't understand. Yeah. I don't understand, who's behind it, right. and what they're trying to cover up.
It's taking back power.
So yeah, and so, but I'm. It doesn't. The fact is, and I'm not making. I'm 100% not making fun of people who believe that the Earth is flat, because man, I fucking love conspiracy theories, and on top of that, I love when people think differently, and I love when people have different views. Never in a million years would I have actually thought that there were people who thought the Earth was flat.
Yeah,
and that was so far from, I grew up thinking one thing. I grew up being taught one thing. I've heard that there's astronauts that have actually been in space and seen this stuff. I heard that there's telescopes and NASA and stuff. But man, it's like you got to be a fucking really strong person to put all that aside and go. But this is what I believe. I know. I think I'm taking a very positive stance on it. But man, it's a fascinating documentary. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. You got to watch it. It's crazy.
What bothers me is it's just another example of the erosion of the idea of objective truth in American culture. Actually, well, it's not just American. It's worldwide now. It's blame it on whatever you want. But the idea is like, well, no, there is no outside authority figure we can trust anymore. So my truth is just as good as your truth. And I can, as long as I can yell loud enough, yell over you, then I'm right and you're wrong. And I that's super, super dangerous for a society. And it's just, and this is coming from someone who I was a believer in any number of things. I was all about UFOs. I was all about the occult. I was all about the paranormal. I was all about being a very conservative Christian for a while, and I kind of worked my way out of that eventually. And it was a long, very painful process. There was I had to finish that thought.
I just love that you're like, I used to believe in UFOs. I'm like, still do.
Yeah.
I used to believe in paranormal. Totally still do. Yeah, no. I think I'm so. I don't know if we've talked about this on camera, and probably haven't for good reason. Yeah. But I am 100% convinced that my apartment is haunted.
Oh yeah, we've mentioned
we've talked about it.
I think on Letterboxd. Yeah.
Oh okay. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. So I'm like. I'm a firm believer in all of that stuff, and only because I feel like it's not because of people who say I saw UFOs. It's not because of that. It's not because of Roswell. It's not because of the X-Files, which I fucking
don't
love.
do Roswell.
Right. It's just because I just want to be open to the idea that there's more out there than we're aware of. That we are certainly not alone in the universe, that like maybe we're not even alone on this planet, that like there's like an infinite number of possible things that could be around us at all times, and like no one knows really what happens when you die. So I'm like man, like I'm so there's I just and when stuff goes flying off my shelf like just randomly, I'm like I don't think I did that.
Well, and that's actually I'm glad you brought up that point of it, because so many people think like skepticism is that. It's like, nope, there's just nothing but what we can see here. It's like, no, that's not what skepticism means. Skepticism means I have my mind open,
right, and
I'm not going to make a decision on it unless I have confirming and disconfirming evidence. A UFO is an unidentified flying object.
Right. Oh,
I don't know what that thing is.
Absolutely.
But, there are, let's say, UFO believers who say, I don't know what that is, therefore it's aliens.
Right.
And it's like, no. It's like I can be comfortable with, I don't know what that is.
Right.
Full stop. And I'm not going to make a decision on it until we have more information.
It's a big leap to make.
Yeah.
It's a big leap to say, hey, there's some flashing lights in the sky. It's aliens.
Right.
Right. Like the government is very powerful, probably doing a lot of crazy stuff up there.
And there's a bigger leap to make too, which people get really offended at, but it's just a reality of how our brains work. Is there's lights in the sky? Are there? Are you sure those were in the sky? The Marfa lights is a perfect example of that. Marfa lights, Marfa, Texas. It is still being sold as a paranormal experience. People still say that these are UFOs, even though it's been demonstrably proven that's actually. So if you don't know what they are, the Marfa lights.
Yeah, no idea actually.
Oh, it's super famous. It's a town called Marfa, Texas, and there's this place where at night you can stand there, and just off in the distance you'll see these. And this is like looking out into desert scrubland. There is nothing there for dozens and dozens, maybe 100 miles. Okay, and just these lights will start coming up off the horizon, zipping back and forth, and merging and unmerging, and doing all these incredible things, and completely inexplicable. Until, gosh, when was it? It was fairly recent. I think within the past 20 years. Basically, some local researchers and physicists went out and like, well, what could it actually be? Because this is one thing. It's not like I saw a UFO last Thursday. It's no, they're there. You can go and watch them.
Yeah.
And eventually, long story short, it ended up being lights from a highway that was way on the other side of this desert flat, and just due to the way the horizon was and the way the heat and all that happens, it just gets refracted, and the headlights aren't these double lights anymore. They get all kind of merged together. But you can see like it's like clockwork. It's like, oh, days when there's lots of traffic, lots of Marfa lights. The road's shut down for some reason.
Nothing.
No Marfa lights.
Wow.
But it is something that is still, that's one where you can say, oh, they really saw something, but there was the skeptics who were like, we don't know what it is, and there was the believers who were like, oh, they're UFOs. Here's our proof of UFOs.
Well, so I think a good end to this conversation about accessibility in gaming, by the way.
We did it again.
We did it again.
We actually had a theory.
Yeah.
Topic.
Yeah, just like last week.
Yeah.
Indie development teams. Whatever. This is more fun. To close out the conversation.
Marfun.
Let me ask you.
Marfun.
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Is there anything out there unexplained, or
Yes.
or that you believe in? Is there anything? What is there anything that you take a giant leap for?
I like a quote from, I think it's Tim Minchin.
I love that you just add like an air of intelligence to everything we do around here.
Well, Tim,
stop it.
Tim Minchin, you should check out. I mean, actually, no, you shouldn't check out because you don't like humor in your music.
I don't like humor in anything.
Yeah.
Fucking robot golf.
Isn't it enough? Oh gosh. Isn't it enough to see the beauty in a garden without having to believe there are fairies at the bottom of it too? I love science. I love science because it gives us a chance to really understand the wonder of the universe. I don't think it lessens majesty. I think trying to understand what's actually happening opens your mind so much more to how amazing the universe actually is.
Is this the long way of saying no? I don't believe in anything out of the realm of science or out of the realm of possibility.
No. Because it's not out of the realm. Because first of all, there's nothing out of the realm of science. Science is not a set of beliefs. Science is a way of investigating questions and finding answers. So there's nothing that's outside science.
Maybe I phrased it wrong. Yeah. I'm curious what you believe that's more on the fringe.
What I believe in. So I don't accept faith as a path to knowledge. Okay. Because that leads to very dangerous things. I come from a religious background where, faith, just believe this because I tell you, believe this because you just have faith in it. It's like, there's a lot of bad consequences to that kind of thinking. To me, I try very hard not to believe in something unless I have good reason to. I have faith. What I do have faith in is our ability to get better, our ability to be better people individually, our ability to change and grow, and our ability to eventually, as a species, as a country, as a whatever, to do better than we're doing now. That's the only thing I can think of now that I don't have proof for, that I still have faith in.
Oh, that's pretty good. Pretty good. I'm going to stick with UFOs.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Star Trek can happen, man.
I hope so. I really hope so. Hope they get that networking thing figured out, though. And a lot of those fucking tablets floating around.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I was going to say, all evidence to the contrary in our current political system, whichever side you're on. But I still believe that we can get there.
Yeah, we're not getting political.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, we're
so not getting political.
We're getting religious, and
we're getting and we always want to like make sure everyone is on the same page.
Yeah.
If you're religious, if you believe in one side or the other politically, like we're all just here to have fun and have stupid conversations about ridiculous things.
This is why we put this stuff on the litter box, not the main feed.
Yeah, like when I say I'm Bryan Paul and I love you all, I'm like I'm not full of shit. Like I don't care what you believe in.
Yeah.
I don't care what your stance is politically. I don't care what your stance is on gun control or whatever. It doesn't matter to me.
Yep. I've left more groups for their exclusivity than I've joined. Like when I was, one of the things that annoyed me about when I was faith was like, oh no, we can't have these people in. And then I became, I started going heavy into like the atheist and the skeptic community. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to go the exact opposite way. And they're like, no, you can't be on, on off topic, whatever. I looked into getting my secular celebrant certification. So basically it's the oh gosh, I just lost the name. The Humanists. Is it the Humanists? Yes, the Humanists. They basically have a certification, so you can solemnize weddings and things like that, but not have to be religiously based.
Okay.
And they actually went through all the loopholes you need to be able to do that. And I looked at getting that certification, but it says very clearly, if you get this, you cannot do any ceremonies that have any religious connotation whatsoever.
Oh.
I was like, nope, that's a big old ball of nope. I want to do a thing where I can do whatever I want and hang with whoever I want, right, because I want to hang out with people who are different than me.
Right, and I think that's I think from the get-go, I think that's what Without Parole's always been about. Obviously we try to focus on video games, and lately we try to focus on PlayStation VR, and but more than that, I think we have a killer community, and everyone in the community is different, but for whatever reason. But yet we all come together because we just, I don't know, we're just a big fucking cool group of friends, I guess.
To me, the thing that makes me happiest is I like this thing. You like it too? Would you like to try it? That's what makes me happy. Like, whether it be fencing or
the
magic
fundamental
or
playground
PSVR
mentality.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we both like this. Let's be friends.
Right.
Yeah,
And it's that simple. And as long as you're on that same page as us, I don't care if whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And again, we're just these conversations are just conversations that we would have anyway, just goofing off, talking about shit.
Yeah,
and
we just have them with you now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Again, we were like, what do you want to talk about? Des like, I think we should talk about accessibility in video games. I was like, that sounds great. Let's do it. And then 30 minutes later, here we are, and we still haven't talked about accessibility in video games. We're letting you peek behind the curtain. And
I will say, Sony, Microsoft is kicking your ass on this one. Get on board, all right? Seriously.
There you go. In a litter box episode that Sony's never going to see.
Right.
That's where we get the message.
Stop counting on third-party developers to make your stupid add-ons. You can do this. You have engineers. You have prototyping equipment. Fix it. Sorry.
Okay. That works for me.
There you go.
Yeah. I'll just stop relying on YouTube channels to do all your advertising for you. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for all your Patreon support. You guys really are keeping this channel running. We appreciate, dude. And strangely, and this again, a little inside baseball here. Ad revenues going way down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I don't know what it is, if like YouTube changed up their changed up the way they do things, but like we just lost a ton of monthly ad revenue from YouTube. So like we're relying on Patreon more than ever. So thank you guys so much for your continued support. All the new Patreons, thank you for joining us. All the old Patreon supporters, thank you for sticking with us, especially doing shows like this.
Yeah. What was it? No, never mind.
We really do love you all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's like 2:00 in the morning. Gotta go.
Bye.